Okay, so are there programs that are available to people for businesses that are not basically minority, veteran, female owned? I happen to be a white male in his 30s. Is there anything I could get as a small business owner? Welcome to Seize Your Business. Today we're joined by David Rambhajan with Industria Construction Services. He's also on the board for the regional SBA. Is that the best way of putting it?
That sounds good.
Thanks so much for joining us today, David. Give us a little bit about your background and what you do. Before we dive into our topic, we're going to be talking about government programs that benefit small business owners.
Yeah, definitely. So my company, Industria Construction Services, is a commercial general construction company. So we're a small business, a general contractor, and we've done mostly government type work, city, county, state, and now federal. In the last 10 years, we've been doing federal, and it's kind of helped us learning about these small business programs to grow the business.
So tell me, you're on the board for the SBA, you do federal work, you're pretty uniquely qualified to talk about small business programs. I don't know almost anything about small business programs that are put on by the government, so I'd like to hear, walk me through it like I'm a preschooler.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I guess because where I sit, I figure, everybody kind of knows about it, and those who are interested get involved, those who aren't don't. But what I'll share is, initially, when I started my business, working with programs in the city of Chicago, I think people are familiar with diversity programs. This is minority, women-owned, and now veteran-owned businesses get opportunities in the city, county, state, and even in the federal. And so I looked at those opportunities where they say, hey, these smaller businesses don't get an equal opportunity, so we're going to mandate through the government programs that a certain percentage of the work go to these companies. What's good about that is it gives you an opportunity, right?
And the requirement for those types of companies is that basically 51% of the shares have to be owned by the minority or veteran.
Exactly. People ask sometimes, Al, what do you have to do to get certified? I said, who's asking? The reason is because every program's a little different, right? So the county and different counties and different areas, the state, everyone has a different, even private companies have their small business or diversity programs. So you want to know, my biggest thing is, who do you want to sell to, and do they have a program? Because sometimes, and I've made these mistakes myself early on, and that is, well, let me get certified and then see if I can get work. Really what you want to do is see if they buy what you're selling, and then if you can participate in that program to grow your business.
Sure. So, and just to give a little background, I maybe undersold what I know about this a little bit, but so when we've dealt with these, a lot of the key is not only shareholder percentage ownership, but also control of the company has to stay with the minority or.
I guess wherever there's opportunity and money, there'll be some corruption. You want to bend the rules a little bit. People want to take advantage of the opportunity. So yeah, there are some pretty particular rules to make sure that you're in control, you own it, you operate it, and then that benefit or that opportunity goes to you.
Sure. So for these minority, veteran, are there programs for people with disabilities too, or is it
Yeah, definitely. On the veteran side, there's a service disabled veteran-owned program, which is pretty strong in the federal sector and growing in the private area and municipalities. But I'm not as familiar with this one, but there is Americans with Disabilities program that a lot of the municipalities participate in, because I've seen it before. It's not really brought up in the small business programs too much, but if there is a disability, there's an opportunity a lot of times through all the municipalities to get an opportunity to do some work.
And most of these programs, do they revolve around just getting government contracts, or are they also, making it easier to get loans, or are there other benefits that can come?
Yeah, that's true. That's interesting, is that the program is an opportunity program, right? So it says you're participating. You don't get something like, oh, you're in the program, here you go, congratulations. It's an opportunity to show that your product or service is something they can use. But you're right, there are other benefits, and there are different organizations throughout those different government groups that offer support, like mini MBAs even. They'll have you come into a program, you get accepted into it, and they really are trying to share, hey, do you know how to run a business? Mm-hmm. I think a lot of small businesses are great at their trade, right? You probably know it's like, the good is your trade, but now you're going to run a business. You got to understand how to run the business.
Sure, we talk about that all the time on this show.
Not just do your trade. So yeah, there's definitely extra benefits there for programs.
So I'm a business lawyer. I do law for business owners, and I find it hard to keep track of what the programs are that are available, because there are some on the municipal level, there's some on the state level, there's some on the federal level. Is there a good resource that people can go to find out, basically to learn more about these programs?
Right. Well, I think in general, I'll say that there are diversity programs in the city, county, state level, and private organizations. And then there's federally, across the country, there are small business programs. For the local programs, you go to those municipalities. You check on the county's website or the city's website for small business programs. It'll show you what those are. And on the federal side, you'll go to SBA, smallbusinessadministration.gov, and that'll explain the programs available there.
Okay, so are there programs that are available to people, for businesses that are not basically minority, veteran, female owned? I happen to be a white male in his 30s. Is there anything I could get as a small business owner from the government?
I love that question, because as I grew the business in the last 10 years through the federal, they recognize small business, right? So the municipal programs generally are diversity programs. So they're generally women-owned, minority, defined however they define it. Each program's different. And then veteran-owned. So those three. But when you get to the federal, there are 5 programs. There's a woman-owned program. There is a hub zone program based on where your primary office is located.
Okay.
To help develop economic development for that area.
So that's basically for people who are in underdeveloped areas or kind of troubled areas. They might, if you set up your business there, you're bringing money into the community, so the government wants to help you.
I'll tell you what, in the city of Chicago, on the north side, my original office was in a hub zone. You would have never guessed it. So what I'd say is, if there's opportunity in that program for you, you just plug in your address on the SBA website for Hub Zone. It tells you if it is or not. Okay. So that's the Hub Zone. Then they got the woman-owned. They have the small disadvantaged business, which is, the way they look at it on the federal side is, the size of your revenues determines, based on your type of work you do, whether you're small or not. So they'll say, for an architectural firm, I'm in construction, so I know architectural firm, they'll say annual receipts that don't exceed $15 million over a 3-year period. You're small if you stay under that. And then what does that do for you? That allows you to participate in the small business program set aside for that code. For construction, it's like $36 million over 3 years. So every type of business, every category under a NAICS code, you could look it up. What's the small business size standard for this type of work? And it tells you. And it's pretty liberal. For small businesses, most small businesses could participate. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it's I believe as much as 50% of federal spending goes to small business, meaning that they have to fit under these categories. I mean, so the numbers are very large. And even locally or regionally, there's a lot of opportunity for what the federal government buys.
So for these businesses that are just based on, I guess, business size, or you called it disadvantaged or smaller businesses, are these mostly, again, for bidding on government contracts? Contracts are only going to be available for these, or they'll have an advantage in getting government contracts, or there are other benefits that you can get?
Yeah, I think it's for each program is different. So there are some programs where you can use that small business program to do private work. I was at a meeting with who was at Abbott up north here, the pharmaceutical, and they asked me, "Are you veteran owned?" I said, "Yes." And they said, "Are you CVE?" is what they said. Well, CVE is a federal certification. They were looking for it. They felt that if you had that certification, you're a real company, and so they were using that. But mostly, it's for federal work, and there's 52 around, plus or minus federal agencies in the country, and depending upon what type of work you do, you can go online, and there are also local free resources, which I'll share, that can help you and determine, is this somewhere I should look to grow my business?
Okay. So when the election happened, the Trump-Hillary election, there was a lot of talk on both sides of reinvesting in infrastructure, federally. And I've been making it a point not to follow politics too closely lately with all the vitriol. But I'm sure you're pretty tapped in. It seems like infrastructure hasn't gone anywhere since all those promises are made, sitting here at the end of 2017.
Yeah. I know it takes time, I believe, so hopefully we'll see something. It definitely has to occur. I mean, the infrastructure is having challenges, and I'm not too involved in the politics, but there's a lot of politics and what states get it. And what they do with that infrastructure money is it's not really a federal program anymore. It's a state program.
Okay.
Because the federal agencies that give that money for infrastructure, they give it to the states.
Okay.
And then the states use it.
That makes sense. The states are the ones that are actually local enough to know what they need, I suppose. It sounds like based
I don't know
on
about
your
our
face,
state. Our state is having some challenges with their money, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the century.
Right. So, but yeah, the states will do it, and I think there's some other agencies. The Army Corps of Engineers is a client of ours, and they do spend money on projects in this area on infrastructure, a lot of the rivers and stream banks, and that's some of the work we get. So, but I think that from all the different agencies, I'd say the government buys almost everything, and you'd be surprised to find out that perhaps what you sell, they buy, one of the agencies in one way or another.
So even if you're not in the construction industry, there's probably a way that you can, serve the government.
Short of basket weaving or something that they're not gonna, they buy everything. They have, for small business, sometimes they just have credit cards and they'll say, well, we need this and it's under $20,000, so we're going to charge it. And they have the authority to procure it. And so...
so how do you get tapped into that? How do you, take the first step towards
that's a
bidding
good
on
question.
those projects?
Well, the SBA's website, sba.gov, is a good location, but there's so much information. I'm going to mention what's called a PTAC. And that stands for Procurement Technical Assistance Center. I think there are 3 or 4 in our area. Those are government grant-funded programs from local support agencies that will offer you support for free. You go in there. I'm interested in a program that David mentioned. Don't mention my name. But you could say you're interested in the small business programs, and you can even ask, is this something with my company that we can do? Can you help us? And they will. And it's free consulting.
And they'll walk you through the process, huh?
They'll want you to sign that they helped you, maybe, so that they can keep getting the grants, which is fine. But there's some really good PTACs out there that can help you.
Okay. So, David, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn, David Rambhajan, or Industria is the name of my company. They can Google it and look me up.
All right, great. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom and your time with us today.
Thank you.
And if you're listening, please subscribe, whether it's on YouTube or iTunes. That's really helpful to us. Leave a review or go onto our website, seizeyourbusiness.com, to sign up for our email list to get our new episodes emailed to you. You can call me at 630-324-6666 to schedule an initial consultation. I'm Kevin O'Flaherty. I own O'Flaherty Law, and we do just about every area of law. Thanks so much for listening, and thanks again, David.
Thanks.